Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're doing it once again. Vince, give me a shout out.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Feeling a little bit rusty, but here we are.
Yeah, sure are, but we're back getting it done. So, of course, we're going to talk about the Sasquatch, the big guy, our favorite topic. We were talking off air about, and I don't know how new it is, but it's a channel on YouTube, and they do Bigfoot investigations. And what are they called?
Hellbent Holler.
Hellbent
Now,
Holler.
I haven't got into their whole library. You know, I've seen scattered videos, but I'm guessing it is a few years old just because of their appearance. You know, I found an older one where they look quite a bit younger, and like we said, the tattoos. And once they started making a little bit of money, the tattoos got colorful.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah, I know. I watched one of the episodes. I wasn't really familiar with them, but I did watch one of the episodes just not even 3 hours ago, and they were back in Georgia, and they had been in this place, I guess, previously where there was some, I guess, activity is what they found, but it seemed, from what they were saying, it seemed it was disrupted by some occultic activity.
Right. I think I seen some of those. They had people doing weird stuff. I don't know if that one they talked about the circles.
Yes, it was that one. And they on this one, they went back and the circles were all buried.
Yeah, I seen that one.
Seen
Yeah,
that one?
they had dug pits or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of rituals or activity they were doing, but when they went back, everything was covered up, like they're trying to cover their tracks maybe.
Right.
And I want to say something about there was doll parts or something that were no longer there, or some other stuff.
Yeah, they said like stuffed animals.
Yeah, because that's what made them think it was some kind of occult activity. And,
Right.
And I don't know, just weird, but it's pretty neat. They they actually get out into the forest. They have some pretty good equipment. Did they use a Geiger counter?
They did.
They put that on the floor where they have these circles where nothing's growing. So they were wondering if something happened, because one night they saw lights, they were saying.
That's
So
right.
they don't know if it was extraterrestrial or what it was, but these circles, they were just seeing if there was any radiation residue. And I think there was a little bit, wasn't there? But it wasn't nothing.
It was nothing that would be dangerous for a human to be around, but it did peak, and it peaked at like 38. And they said, what that really means, I don't know, because I don't know how to read.
Right? Yeah, I don't know the scales of what's dangerous, what's not.
Yeah, but they did have a good point. Nothing was growing around it.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. And nothing's really growing around those pits either, though.
No.
But you could see where they covered them, and I don't know. I just wonder what they did. I don't know. Maybe they used Roundup. That'll kill everything, including you.
Right?
Oh, I hope they don't sue us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but they have some pretty neat stuff. I was telling my brother about one episode where they were out there, and he had actually left her in an area kind of like bait.
Right.
And he went off, but they left the camera rolling on her. And when they reviewed the footage, there was a red eye shine behind her.
I did see that. I saw that on. It was a clip of like five, and they did show behind her, and it was crazy how you just see the eyes like open up.
Yeah.
And then they went away. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that was.
So I don't know. It's hard to tell. They've come across footprints, but like I was telling him, some of them, they look maybe a little too perfect. I'm not saying they're not real, but they look perfect with the camera. But some of them, I don't know. I thought it may have been a boot print, but it's hard to say because of the weather. You know, the weather will change things in a day.
Right. Who knows? Who knows what was really, really going on down there?
Right. And this last one I saw, they were hiking. It was like an old road because they said it was gravel, but to me it looked more like a dry riverbed because you had high banks on each side.
Right.
But they said it was a road because they found a piece of a horseshoe.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, people ride their horses in the river,
All the time.
and they said that was a side of the road where they had been cut in. But to me, it looked more like a dry riverbed because the banks were so high.
Right.
But there was one point where they're getting equipment out, and they saw her. She kind of froze, and she looked off to the side. She said, "I could have swore I saw a figure standing there, and it took off." But the banks are so high. By the time they got up to see, you know, of course, nothing was there.
Right.
And they went back deeper into the forest, and they found hiking equipment. What are those carabiners? Is that what they're called? Those
Yeah.
clips?
Yep.
Those and rope and stuff, like 70 feet up in a tree.
Whoa. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and they come across a lot of the tree bends, and it's not snowfall because they're like wedged into another tree to make an arch, and these trees aren't small, so I don't know what to make of that. How do you really explain that?
Well, on the one I watched, there were some tree bends that they found, and they were like locked in.
Right.
And the way they were locked in, that you got to have hands to lock it in like that. And then as they went down a little further, there was another tree bend, and this tree was a little thicker, but the tree had been stuck. It was forced into the ground. And first of all, to bend a tree like that, and second of all, to stick it in the ground to where it's not going to pop back up,
Right.
that takes some strength. So
Right. I mean, even for us, like a sapling, I probably couldn't pull it out of the ground.
no, I definitely couldn't.
Yeah, so I don't know. And you see these areas, and they're pretty thick wooded areas. You just can't get equipment there without, you know, clear cutting.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. So my thing is, where are they based out of? Do you know?
You know what? I don't know. They do a lot of North Carolina, so I'm guessing somewhere up there.
I was going to think, yeah, maybe in the southeast somewhere, because like they were in Georgia on this one. You said they were in North Carolina, and I'm thinking that they're in that area. How many of these have you watched, Dean?
I've probably watched about 6 of them.
So are they? Have they ever been like to the Pacific Northwest? Or-
No, everything's East Coast.
Okay, so then they're are stationed down there. I'll have to look into that and find out. But
Yeah, maybe we could get into contact with them.
right,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's something to watch. It's I guess a lot of their investigation, they go to these sites anyway, but if they get reports, they'll go.
right,
And it's, to me, something like that's more interesting than just sitting around. Sometimes the stories overlap, like if somebody's just sitting there telling the story.
Yeah,
I want to see actual research. I want to see actual evidence.
I want to see them walking out in the forest. 'Cause
Right, and sometimes you could hear something like tree breaks. I've heard that in the background when they're walking. And of course, you know, they cut, and they said it never fails. The minute we stop filming, we hear something.
Right. And the thing that she brought up, and that I was like, oh yeah, we've had that feeling many times, is they were walking on top of a ridge, and she just stopped and she looked at her partner, and she said, I just have this feeling like I'm being watched.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know the feeling. And then he said the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. So,
Yep.
so that, you know, is that the human, just your senses, that because your senses are heightened when you're out there.
Right.
And is that just your senses, or is that the mind playing tricks on you?
Well, it could be a little bit of both because they're pretty objective about what they find, but
Right.
the fact is most people who go out there looking for Sasquatch, they got Sasquatch on the brain.
Right. Yeah. And everything. Oh, that's a squatch. It's a squatch.
Right. And but you know, it's hard to fake two people getting the same feeling of being watched.
Yeah. that it is. And, you know, and that's why I say, well, you know, we've had that. And at times I ask myself, is there really something out there watching us, or is it just me, you know?
Right. Just my mind running away with.
Yeah, you get into these thick forest areas, and it does get a little creepy, you know? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, but their episodes are usually pretty good. They're sometimes I've watched one where they were getting activity like tree breaks, and it's hard to hear something in the distance with the camera
right.
because they even tried to clean up the audio, but not much. But there's like a rhythmic clicking, like rocks out in the distance, and tree breaks, and sometimes it'll get a little intense for them, so they'll turn around and go back to the car.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, I'm looking forward to watching more of their episodes because I think it's pretty interesting. And yeah, I'd like to have a talk with them. You know, maybe just get in their mind a little bit.
I'd like to go on an investigation with them.
Yeah, that would be fun too, man.
I don't know if I could hike as much as they do, but we'll try.
Right. Yeah, but it would be interesting to talk to them. Let's talk about and I think it's you that sent me the link, the Navajo.
The New Mexico encounter.
The New Mexico encounter, and this Navajo man was telling another podcast host about his encounter here in New Mexico. In the area he was naming, I mean, we're real familiar with it. We grew up right in that area, and it was interesting, his little story.
Right. And for some reason they had said Arizona or something, but it's not Arizona.
Right. No, I don't know why they said Arizona, because where he said, I'm like, no, that's nowhere near Arizona. That's south of Gallup. That's New Mexico all the way.
Yeah.
But and he even mentioned what tipped it off is he said the Cibola National Forest, and we're like, yeah, no. I was like, that's nowhere near Arizona.
Right.
But his story was good. I mean, it happened when he was a young man, but it was a good story, and I think he was genuine about it.
Yep.
And I believe him because we know in that area that there have been many sightings.
Well, it was a classic story. They all piled into the truck and they saw it standing in the road.
Right.
But we also know Storm, who we had on the podcast when we first started.
Right.
He had the exact same thing happen in almost the same area. It's part of the Zuni Mountains. He may have been a little deeper because he likes to cruise the backcountry. Right. And he came over a ridge and one walked right in front of him. And he didn't know what it was at first, but
his story was interesting. You're right. Here's what that caught my attention, and it made me think a little bit. So they were going down to take care of the grandma's sheep, which, what did he say, like 10 miles down? And so the sheep, they flock and they graze down in this area. And I'm starting to think to myself, well, have you guys lost any sheep?
Right.
Have these things taken your sheep, or do they just leave them be?
And see, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Just like where we go, there's a lot of cattle. So
Right.
we're talking about the calves. Especially, that'd be easy picking, especially if they're not branded or tagged yet.
Right.
I mean, they could, maybe they do lose them, and maybe they do lose sheep too. They just chalk it down to coyotes or something.
Maybe they do, but yeah, I was real interested. But and yeah, where we go, sometimes the cattle are grazing, and there's that little fresh veal that these animals are carnivores as well, herbivores, and I guess omnivores. They eat whatever they can.
Right.
And you would think that those little cattle would be a quick lunch.
And it'd be easy because they're so young, they could run up on them and you would confuse them. They wouldn't know where to go, especially if there's two you on each side.
Right.
Easy pickings.
But then we've also talked about that if they did start to do this, of course, farmers are going to hunt them,
Right.
And maybe they're smart enough to say, nah, we're not going to mess with that because we don't want to be seen. We don't want to be bothered. And if so, they're going to track us and we're going to have to move. But
then again, as far as the farmers go, how could you hunt something that you really don't see and almost impossible to track?
Well,
if they were that easy to track, we'd have somebody out there with some good footage or something.
well, I mean, we get these kill teams come in and they say they know how to track them, so.
But these kill teams, like the stories we've heard of, like the government,
Yeah.
they have unlimited resources. I mean, they have satellites that could
drones.
see anything. Drones, infrared.
Yeah. So
Infrared from the air, that's a powerful tool.
it is, but we'll just have to get that old Apache man from Outlaw Josie Wales, and he'll tell us which direction to go.
The horned toad says go that way. Yep.
Yeah, but I thought his story was genuine. It was good, and it was right in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, and that made me think because growing up, I mean, we would hear stories, but not very often. But I don't know if they're credible or we didn't really buy into it yet.
Yeah.
We were just like, just like when we saw In Search of the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Right.
That made me think.
Well, it made me think, but like we talked about, I thought, wow, there's only one in the whole world.
Right, that's what I thought too.
I'm like, there's only one.
But do you remember when we'd go camping? We went on a picnic when we heard those screams, and then we packed it up and left.
Yeah.
And also when we'd go camping, do you remember how the cows would scream at night?
Yeah, I do remember that.
So and I never really put two and two together, but why would a cow be screaming like that at night?
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting. And now I think I want to go cruise the back roads, man.
I do too, but I was thinking, because I want to go for a ride up to where we go, but they got a lot of snow, so I don't know what the mud situation's like or the roads.
Well, I know it's going to be tough. I mean, do you remember last year when we went up about this time when the snow started melting and just the rivers were flowing, man?
Oh, yeah, they were flowing
They
good.
were flowing. So I imagine it's going to be the same because they really got a lot of snowpack up there.
Yeah, and the area we like to go, that road just gets worse and worse every year.
It does.
No maintenance on it.
None whatsoever. So pretty soon you're just going to need a horse to get back there.
Yep.
But it's a good area.
If I could pack a toilet on a horse, I might.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, so what else have you kind of been listening to or watching?
Oh, man, I've been watching a whole bunch of those. I find some that are interesting and some that I can't take more than like 10 minutes of.
I've tried to watch some, and like I was watching one before I started watching the Hellbent Holler, and it was supposed to be about doing an investigation up in the Pacific Northwest, and it just got dry. I was like, what is this even about?
Right. Some people don't know how to edit. I mean, if you want to keep people's attention, leave the good stuff in there.
Yeah, no,
I don't need 30 minutes of just you with the camera.
Right. No. I mean, and as you're going through the woods, from what I see, the good documentaries I see, the people they're narrating as they're going along. They're telling you what they're looking for, what they're doing, and where they're at, and if they've been there before, and they keep you engaged. You're right. It's just not.
Right.
For 30 minutes.
Well, just like Small Town Monsters usually does a pretty good job, even though they don't have a whole lot of evidence themselves.
Right.
But they do have occasional noises and stuff. But they do have they usually meet the eyewitnesses at the scene of the crime.
Right.
This last one they did I told you about with the Skunk Ape Corridor.
Yeah.
That was one of their newer ones, and I like Small Town Monsters, but I wasn't too impressed with that one. They got a group together to go search. I don't know if they're in Florida or where they were, somewhere over there. Mm-hmm. And man, they just had like a ton of people. I'm like, you ain't going to accomplish nothing with that many people. You're going to scare everything away from you.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, if the crowds are too big, yeah, it's going to be too noisy. They'll hear you coming a mile away.
And not only that, you always have somebody talking, so you can't really listen.
No. Yeah.
Or else somebody making noise. Or,
Right.
but
Hooping and hollering.
toward the end of the investigation, most of them had took off. Then it started raining, but still they're joking and making noise. I'm like, man, you're gonna miss it. Something, if anything happens, you're gonna miss it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 'cause you gotta be kind of quiet out there, and you gotta listen for things, and you will hear things. It doesn't mean it's a squatch, but you're gonna hear activity from wildlife.
Right.
And it's kind of spooky sometimes, but at other times it's kind of cool. You're like, man, this is crazy. But it's fun to do.
Yeah, but all in all, this last one from Hometown or Small Town Monsters, I gotta say I wasn't impressed with it.
No,
I wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend any other video they did, but
no, and sometimes they kick out. I feel some, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Sometimes you got to kick out content for your channel to keep your subscribers active and interested, and you're not always going to do the best. It's not all your content. It can not all be 100%,
right.
You're going to have some flops.
Yeah, but then again, the skunk ape is kind of different. Just the area. I don't believe there's a whole lot of them down there.
No, I don't.
But,
I don't think so either.
A lot of the eyewitness and stuff, a lot of them were a long time ago. And just when they go out, every skunk ape episode I've seen by any channel, they don't find a lot of evidence.
No, I mean, but if you think about it, the skunk apes are like down in the swampy area, and there's a lot of water and moisture. The evidence is going to be either diluted or just disappear rapidly.
Right, but you take, for instance, somebody searching up in Washington State or something, or Canada, eventually you're going to get a wood knock, a howl, or a yowl, or something in the distance.
And in my personal opinion is there are some down there, but I think that's some, even for them, that's rough terrain.
Yeah,
It's just those swampy marshlands. Then you got all those snakes, all the gators, and that they got to be on high alert. I know they're like the apex predator because they're so big and strong, but still, man, gators, snakes.
right. I was thinking there's got to be a corridor for them to get in and out.
I think so too.
And I was thinking maybe like they migrate and maybe they end up there on accident, and that's when you have sightings and they say, screw this place, they turn around and go back.
Yeah, they're like, your GPS is broken.
Yep. He's like, nobody prepared me for gators.
Right? I could see that.
Yeah, but the best skunk ape one I saw was the footage, the FLIR footage.
Oh yeah.
Was his name Brown or something? Or Terry something, right?
I don't remember, but that was some good footage. And then the other one is where it's like in the swamp.
Oh yeah.
Itself. It's in the water.
Tearing up that tree. Yeah.
Yes, in the water. And I'm like, wow, okay. And to this day, people are going to say, oh, these are all just make-believe and whatnot.
Right. And, it's going to get even worse with AI now.
It is. AI it's wrecking havoc on a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about it's already in the music industry.
It's headed for the movie. Well, it's in the movie industry already, too. So who are we trying to fool?
Yep.
But,
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. They're fooling me.
right. And I seen a commercial about some AI and how they're doing like sci-fi backgrounds for like podcasts and videos, and it's just amazing what these machines are doing.
Right. Yep. That's I don't know. That's some crazy technology. Even like the search engines, they have the AI now.
They do, yeah. I mean, everything's going to AI, so there again, they're going to make probably Squatch videos that are AI generated, and
right.
and they're going to fool us all.
Yep, they're just putting us deeper in the matrix.
They are, but it's a good tool. Like any tool, it could be used or abused.
Right.
But you're right. I think we're going to see a lot of deep fakes with AI,
Yeah. Yep.
and it won't be hard to do.
Nope.
But
It's because it's getting good. It's getting like real good.
it's getting real good. I mean, from what I'm reading, 5 years from now, it's going to be really good.
Yeah, but that's the computer world. There's nothing like getting out in the real world, and like where we go, we put our phones away. We have to.
Right. And, we're still going to get people that go out and just do it the old-fashioned way, man. That won't go away. Now, here's the thing. They're going to say, is that AI, is it
Right.
Is it faked, or are they really out there?
Well,
But-
that's why we're going to carry a camera like Patterson Gimlin. Can't fake that. There's no AI there.
Right. No, I think even with AI and the deep fakes that are going to come out, and, people are just going to generate them to say, see, I told you I could fool you. But
Right. And well, people are trying to do that now. Just AI is going to make it easier.
it is.
Because now people to hoax, they have to, it takes quite a bit of work to do a hoax that's somewhat believable, but 99.9% of the time you could say, no.
Yeah, no. And, but what can you do? It's changing times. That's where they're headed.
Right.
I think you'll know who's real and who's not.
Yeah. Well, some of these hoaxes are just plain right outright silly.
Yeah.
I mean, like when we go there, there's stuff we have caught, like maybe recording with our cell phones, and when we listen back, I'm like, I know what we heard. It always sounds a little different when you hear it recorded.
It does.
And I'm thinking, I know what it was. I know in my mind what it was. We were there, but you're thinking, I don't want to put that out there because they're going to rip me apart.
Right. They're going to say, you're crazy. What were
Yeah.
you guys drinking?
Yep, exactly. And New Mexico has some crazy laws. If my neighbor says I'm crazy, they'll come and take my guns away. Not that I have any guns, but if I did.
So that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I don't know. I don't know what this world's coming to. Maybe we should go live with the Squatch.
Maybe we should, and back to this interview that was down in our neck of the woods. I've driven through that back road, and what's the highway's name that goes to Zuni?
Zuni? Is it?
Yeah, and we
It used
just
to be
know
666.
Yeah, we just
Wow.
know it as the old Zuni Highway.
Yeah.
But I've driven that road late at night many times, and coming back from Zuni, or going down toward Quemado, or I've been on this road. I'm gonna say, not even joking, 100 times.
Right.
And at night, it can be creepy. I mean, you're only 20 minutes from Gallup or something, but during that little stretch of time, it could be creepy and it could be dark. I've never had an experience, and I wish I would have.
Right. But yeah, like you said, you've been on that road so many times. We both have.
Yeah.
We're both vendors. We used to travel that road a lot.
Right.
And the thing is, once you go south toward Zuni, you're opening up a whole different can of worms of strangeness.
You are.
Things that you might run into or encounter.
Yeah, and that's just the spirit down there.
And it's funny because we got the Zunis to the south of us, the Navajo to the north and the west, and you go to, north and the west, you go to the east, you got Lagunas, Acamas,
Right.
and up here the Jemez, the Isleta. We basically grew up around this. That's why when we see these specials, we're like, oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
To us, it's just commonplace, a lot of it.
It is. I mean, growing up in this area, you hear about the folklore and everything. You've heard it since you were young. That it goes into even the Spanish folklore that. The big one when I was growing up was the Llorona, right?
And seeing now they're making movies about it, I'm like, I thought Mom made that up to scare us.
Right? No. So, but it was interesting. Anyway, that's what we wanted to share with you guys tonight, and I'm gonna watch some more of these videos, and I'm gonna focus on the good ones, and we'll talk about them, and give us your feedback.
Yeah, and you should check them out. They're on YouTube, Hellbent Holler.
Right? Yeah, I think you'll enjoy them, so check them out, and drop us a line if you want. cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com, all one word, lowercase. Yeah, we've gotten some email from some of you guys, and keep it coming.
Yep.
We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.